Good evening, Internet. Shroom here playing Standard tonight, and got another budget brew tonight with 0 rares outside of the manabase. Let's take a look at some Orzhov Irksome Aggro. So we're in Orzhov Aggro deck, looking to get down on the board early with 1 and 2 drops. Probably the weirdest thing about this brew is that we're running 4 mainboard Duress, and that is really the kind of the crux of this deck. Is we're very interaction heavy. Like we are only running 22 creatures, which is a low amount that you'd expect, lower the amount than you'd expect from an aggro deck. But we're just going to drop threats early in the game. We're going to make sure our opponents don't have removal spells to remove those threats. We're going to protect them, remove our opponent's stuff that comes down early, and ride our threats to victory. So let's look at the threats first, I guess. We're running these Diregraf Ghouls. Yes, these all-stars from like Duels of the Planeswalkers 2017. They're just 2/2s for 1 mana. That's what they are. Veteran Survivors are my favorite Savannah Lion because they exile the graveyard as they attack. They're also just uncommons. And then moving up the curve to 2, we've got these Encumbered Reejereys, which I think are really great creatures, you know, as uncommons. They start off as, like, if you attack once with them, they're a 3/2. They're 5/4, but they enter with 3 -1/-1 counters on them. When they become tapped, such as when they attack, you remove a counter from them. So the first time they attack, they become 3/2s, then they go to 4/3s, and eventually end up as 2 mana 5/4s. So I think they're actually a pretty good aggro creature at the 2 mana slot. And then we're running some Knights of Grace and Knights of Malice, 2 of each. One or the other should be good against whatever we're facing. In fact, the Knight of Malice, I think, is just a well-positioned creature in Standard right now, because there's a lot of like white-based removal. Like, for instance, the Jeskai control deck cannot spot remove this card because it stops both Lightning Helix and Get Lost. The only thing they can do is sweep this away. So we've got these Knights in the main board. There's more in the side, and we've got 4 Deep-Cavern Bats. So yes, we're running 4 Duress, 4 Deep-Cavern Bats. We're really just going to disrupt our opponent's plans as much as we possibly can early in the game. You know, take away their removal spells, take away their most salient pieces, you know, whatever it is that's most important to the success of their deck. We're just going to take that out of their hands very early in the game as we protect our dorks. And then we've got one of Judge Magister Gabranth. An uncommon 2/2 Menace for 2 is not a bad body, but whenever another creature or artifact he controls dies, puts a +1/+1 counter on him, so he can actually grow, because our creatures might end up dying. You know, people will want to kill them, and they're small, so there's definitely a chance that could occur. And then we got one of Coeurl, which is just a grizzly bear common cat beast, and for 2 mana, it's a tapper dude. You can just pay to tap it to tap target non-enchantment creature, just for a little bit more battlefield control on a decent, you know, grizzly bear. And then finally at 3, which is where our curve tops out, we've got these 2 summon Choco/Mogs. These are sagas that just for 4 turns in a row anthem our creatures, basically giving everything +1/+1, +0 till the end of the turn as a finishing move. And of course, it's a 3/3 itself that can also attack and adds to our board. And then, you know, like, we're gonna just interact, kill our opponent's stuff early, and keep our stuff alive and recurse it. So, you know, we're gonna Requiting Hex our opponent's stuff. We've got a lot of removal. We've got a Seamrip at 1 mana. A couple of Restoration Magics are for any, you know, removal spells that might slip past our Deep-Cavern Bats or Duresses, or, you know, any sweepers that might be top decked later in the game to preserve, to make key creatures on our side indestructible. And then at 2 mana, of course, we've got Sheltered by Ghosts, which is not a rare for some reason, but it is an incredibly powerful removal spell. Of course, you do have to have a creature to put it on, but we're running these, and this is going to accelerate our clock. It's going to gain us life. It's going to make our creatures harder to remove. This is just an amazingly powerful card that I'm really surprised is not actually a rare. And then we've got a couple of Shoot the Sheriff for removal against bigger stuff. And then finally, we've got one of Dewdrop Cure, just as a way that we can, for 3 mana, recurse 2 of our creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield, mana value 2 or less, which is almost all of our creatures. We can also give a gift to recurse 3 creatures from the graveyard to the battlefield, with most often this will not be necessary. This is just a really powerful reanimation spell. We don't want to go all the way up to 4 for Raise the Past, so Dewdrop Cure is our next best option. And then we just got a couple of Diresights, which are good old, what is it, Read the Bones. It's just 3 mana sorcery, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. So it's our version of Stock Up. Just a couple of these to help us smooth over, you know, clumps of lands or whatever. Help us find the cards that we need. Since we are a little low on the creature count, I think it's important to have cards like this. So that's the plan. Yeah, we're going to just take away our opponent's removal, take away whatever the most important part of their game plan is as we build a board of weenies, and just attack, make sure they don't have any cheap creatures on the battlefield, and just beat down with our 1-drops and 2-drops. Total of 21 lands in the battlefield is sufficient for our mana value. So we have the 4 Godless Shrines. I think it's kind of reasonable to assume that like a budget player might have these if you're playing Orzhov on a budget. There's only 4 other rares invested in the mana base, which I chose to do Concealed Courtyards. This is probably the single best land for the deck, actually. If you wanted to go all the way, you really should have all 4 Concealed Courtyards and all 4 Verges. But since this is a budget mana base, we are running a couple of these common lands like these Pinging Deserts and a couple of these Neglected Manas, which later in the game will come into play untapped. If you wanted to fully budgetize the mana base, it'd be difficult because the deck is kind of almost totally evenly split between black and white. So the dual lands really are important. You also don't want to like have your mana come into play untapped early in the tapped early in the game because we are an aggro deck. So I'm kind of torn whether the budgety way would be to run tapped duels or basics. I don't think you want to go over 4 like always tap lands. So maybe you would add 2 more Forlorn Flats or 2 other always tap lands and then just a bunch of basics if you wanted to cut out, you know, 4 further rares from the mana base. You could do so. It'd probably be okay, be a little worse, but it probably would be functional. The sideboard contains a Requisition Raid, which is good against artifacts and enchantments, really good against the Lessons decks. Seam Rip number 2, as well as Requiting Hex number 3, can be brought in against decks that have lots of cheap creatures to kill. Intimidation tactics are here against those like really value-y creature-based decks like elementals, etc. Got 3 Soul Guide Lanterns for Graveyard Hate. Remember, we also have the full playset of Veteran Survivors. A couple of exercises. This is just an excellent removal spell. It's a wide variety of threats, as well as artifacts and enchantments, of course. So we can board up to 3 Knights of Grace or 3 Knights of Malice, depending on which of these Kniggets is the best for the matchup. We got one of Epic Downfall, which I think is actually a good removal spell. Exiles a creature of mana value 3 or greater. It's a sorcery, but that's fine. We're sort of a tap-out style deck anyway. We also have one of Poison the Waters to supplement our intimidation tactics for creature discard. This can also be a sweeper of our opponent's like 1 toughness creatures, and we've got a second Dewdrop Cure to board in against really heavy removal matchups. So that's irksome aggro on a budget. Let's just play some Diregraf Ghouls, protect them, thwart our opponent's plans, make them really salty because they can't do anything, and just beat down with our common and uncommon weenies. See if we can get some wins in Diamond this way. If you like off-meta MTG content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. White Boy will be our first opponent with some irksome aggro on a budget. Okay, yeah, this is great. We got good mana and threats we'll keep. We can Duress turn 1. River Churn Monument, Space-Time Anomaly. Okay, so they're like a mill deck. Well, these are all like bad cards for us. Ultima kills everything. We can take away 3 of these cards. So I think I'll take River Churn Monument because it's the cheapest one. Correction, we can take 4 of the cards. So let's go for a bat. We'll take the counter spell. Candy Trail. Okay, Godless Shrine's a good draw. Let's Duress. We'll take the Sweeper. Play this Reejerey. Attack. Space-Time Anomaly, gonna mill us for 22. I guess we'll go for another bat. Speed up our clock as much as possible. Take the Candy Trail. Play our Crime Land. We can save one of our bats from a Sweeper if needed, or a Reejerey. Probably the Reejerey, actually, because the bats just give them back a Candy Trail and a Counterspell. Split up. tapped creatures. Why is everyone so obnoxious with the comments? We'll make our Reejerey indestructible. Just muting you. Everyone's so chatty today. Well, we unfortunately don't need to resolve another spell to kill our opponents. Although I guess we'll go for, since they can't actually counter this turn, we'll play another creature and just hope this is good enough. Get lost on the bat. Okay. Another restoration magic is good. Alright, let's get lost our survivor. Requiting Hex, we certainly don't need that. Let's do the survivor again. Shoot the sheriff, we don't need that either. Attack for 8. 9. So even if they sweep us here, I can protect the Reejerey. Consult? Yeah, sure. They don't have mana to cast a counterspell now, so I think we're good here. Candy Trail, sure. GG. Okay, so we want intimidation tactics as well because they have all those artifacts. That's probably all that's going to be useful. Requisition Raid. Seam Rip maybe actually could catch a River Churn Monument. Dewdrop Cure we're going to need because they're going to be loaded with sweepers. Knight of Malice, I think they actually cannot spot remove. So we certainly don't need Requiting Hex. I don't think we need to shoot the sheriff. They might slip in some creatures in the board, but we have intimidation tactics and sheltered by ghosts. Maybe we just need one Seam Rip. And Coeurl is probably our least impactful creature in this matchup. Let's try this. Okay. Yeah, we got a 1-drop, we got discard, we got a bat. Keep this. Ghoul into bat. We've also got a Dewdrop Cure if they do happen to get off a thing. Sure, authority. Play a Ghoul. More authority. That's pretty good. Triple authority. Well, play a bat. Taking 3. Take their anomaly. Start beating down. Split up. You can't Thoughtseize the top of your opponent's deck, as they say. Pretty good draw for our opponent. Gonna mill us for 24. Okay. So let's hand check here. What is that last card in your hand? Just a land. Okay. So yeah, do we want to Dewdrop Cure for all 3? I think we do in this case. You can have a card. We'll get a Deep-Cavern Bat though. Deep-Cavern Bat. Knight is the highest power we can get. Oh no, we have a Reejerey also. Look at these 3 creatures. We gain an astronomical amount of life. Flanker we can take away. We just hope this is good enough. Oh, Choco Mog, are you kidding me? That's going to immediately pay back the 3 life. Because it's going to add +4 damage to this attack. Yeah, you gain 3. Uh-huh. Attack for a bunch. Play a land, although we don't need more than like 3 mana in this deck. Meticulous Archive, they bid it. Alright, hand check. Just a land. Alright, they're dead next turn. Did they top deck it? Okay, they get a look for like a split up here. No split up? Concealed Flanker? That's not gonna do it. That is not gonna do it. GG's. Alright, we beat down the Mill Ctrl life gain deck. Sweet. That is some irksome aggro. Naruko 3114 will be our next opponent with some irksome aggro. Be on the play. His hand looks good. We've got 1-drops, we've got a bat we can keep. Lead on our Ghoul, because we'd rather that die than the Veteran Survivor. Also because it enters the battlefield tapped. Okay, so this could be Lessons. Let's attack with our Ghoul. Play a bat. That goes down. Hexene Squelcher. Okay, so they're just like a burn deck. Hexene Squelcher. Counter target spell with mana value 2 or less. They don't actually have blue mana currently. Alright, attack for 2. Get a ping. Play a Veteran Survivor. Oh, which they can counter. What? How do they produce blue mana off this? Oh, this is... What? How did they produce blue mana? They had these 2 lands. They had these 2 lands open. Riverpire Verge plus Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. To cast a dragon or an omen spell. Oh, that's an omen. Okay. I think that's an omen. That's the reason why they were able to do it. Okay, I did not read the card sufficiently. Sure. So that's fine. Let's just summon our Choco Mob. Twin Mob's gonna kill our Choco Mog. It's a hired claw. Alright, let's Duress. Double Hexing Squelcher, sure. So let's Sheltered by Ghosts, your Hired Claw. Squelcher is a 2/2. We draw Restoration Magic. That's not bad. That means that we can kill this Hexing Squelcher, I guess? Or we could just play Choco Mog. And pass. Squelcher number 2. Alright. Let's attack with both our dudes. Alright. We'll Restoration Magic our not Colossus, Ghoul. Definitely not a Diregraf Colossus. Play a Veteran Survivor. Sarkhan. No dragons to behold. That's Diresight. Sheltered by Ghosts, Duress. Okay. I like Sheltered by Ghosts, certainly. Untapped land and Sheltered by Ghosts. Alright, let's just attack with our 2 guys, like so. They have to block. They're down to 3. Sarkhan. He's a 2/2. These have Ward pay 2 life. That's not a problem. Exile your dude. Pay the ward. Exile your dude. Pay the ward. Attack for lethal. Okay, dragons. I think we want intimidation tactics for sure. Probably want epic downfall. And neither of the knights are particularly good because their removal is red based, I think. Poison the waters. That's probably it. Oh, maybe we want Dewdrop Cure. They are very removal heavy. We might want another Requiting Hex as well because they are a burn, like an aggro deck. So we'll just shave 6 of more expensive cards like Choco Mog, a Diresight. Maybe I can cut a Ghoul. I have 2 different Ghouls. It's so weird. I guess because they're one's in Foundations and one's M19. Cut a couple Ghouls. Actually, we'll cut a Ghoul and a Survivor. We can just cut one of each Knight, maybe, since they're not especially great. Let's try this. Oh. What's wrong here? I gotta add a card back. Add a Ghoul. Actually, I really do like the Ghouls better because their graveyard is irrelevant and they're playing Nova Hellkites. Oh, is my main board 61 cards? What's happening? Alright, we've got Shoot the Sheriff, Sheltered by Ghosts, but no creatures or discard. That's a mulligan. Alright, this is better. Bottom, probably one of these Sheltered by Ghosts. Play a Survivor. Squelcher, Sure. I think I'll go for a bat here. Double lightning strike, Nova Hellkite. Okay, take the lightning strike, I guess. Doesn't really matter, the bat's gonna die. We'll attack with our survivor. If they want to trade, that's fine. Kill our survivor. Take 6. Ghoul. Okay, we'll attack, gain a life. Play a tap land. Play this Ghoul. Pass. Take 2. Alright, let's go for our attack. Lightning strike the bat. Burst lightning the Ghoul. Sure. Giant Craft Helm is going to make their Nova Hellkite ridiculous when it hits the battlefield. Kill this thing and pay 2 life. Well, good thing we've got a Shoot the Sheriff. This just gets pinged by the Nova Hellkite anyway, so... Actually, if I Shelter by Ghost it... yeah, this is just fodder for the Nova Hellkite. I don't know why it was a bad idea to play it. Yep. Yeah, it dies. So does your dragon. I should have held this till after they played the dragon. That was a really big mistake. Dewdrop Cure? Okay. Reejerey. Reejerey just dies to the lightning strike. I guess we'd make him use it, right? Dewdrop Cure? Okay. Attack. They take it. Okay, Duress you. Goes to face. Okay. Interesting choice. Okay, they can search for a dragon, that's why. So I should have Sheltered by Ghost the Helm there. I wasn't paying attention to their land. Okay. Well, we actually had like a very good chance of winning that game had I made that play. But I was expecting to get lightning struck. That's why I didn't want to shelter pre-combat. I didn't look at that land closely enough to see if they could search up a dragon. All right. I mean, we just need to, let's get Poison the Waters in there and Epic Downfall. It's like we didn't sideboard at all. We were playing with our main board there. What's going on with this deck? It's a 60-card deck. Somehow we didn't, like, we messed up our sideboarding last time. We didn't bring in our sideboard. But this time we are. Poison the Waters, Intimidation Tactics, Epic Downfall, Requiting Hex, Dewdrop Cure, maybe Exercise, something like this. 7 cuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, I don't like the veteran survivors at all against them. The Reejerey also has the same problem where it starts at 1 toughness. So let's instead get back in Knights and Choco Mogs. Stuff that doesn't die immediately to the Nova Hellkite. Cut Seam Rip in favor of another Knight. Let's get all the Knights back. Yeah, we don't need exercise. We've got Epic Downfall, we've got Intimidation Tactics, Poison the Waters, Sheltered by Ghosts. We should be able to cover the dragons. Let's try this. Alright, we're on the play, this time with a sideboarded hand of cards, which looks pretty good. We can Duress turn 1 into a bat. Let's try it. Burst Lightning, so they got Sarkhan and some Squelchers. No dragons, that's a good sign. We got a Helm. Well, it's not like the end of the world, necessarily. My bat. They don't have a dragon to behold. So this guy makes treasures and becomes a dragon. This guy makes their stuff have ward P2 life. So I'll take one of the Squelchers. It's kind of annoying. Alright. I think I'll play a Knight of Grace here and attack. They tap land. First lightning, the Knight of Grace. Okay. Diregraf, not Colossus, Ghoul. Attack. Play a Ghoul. Play the Judge. There's Sarkhan. Any dragons to behold? Yeah, they have a Nova Hellkite in hand, okay. Which they can warp to kill my dude. Kill my bat. Boy, what a top deck. Alright, they're getting a huge hit here. Okay, Dewdrop Cure. That's a good one. Or do we want to summon Choco Mog? Ah, man. If they top deck a land, they can just play this Hellkite and it's hugely buffed. The conservative play is definitely to hold up, shoot the Sheriff. Or I could Dewdrop Cure. Whatever. We're playing a budget deck against, like, actual, like, rares and mythics. I'll attack with the Judge. They take it. Alright, please don't top deck a basic land, opponent. Let's get back our Knight and Bat. Take your last Squelcher. Please do not top deck an untapped land. Okay, phew. We Lightning Strike our Knight, which does boost the Judge. Alright, yeah, we'll trade for this Squelcher, I think. That does boost the Judge some more. Sweet. Okay, now I certainly must buff to shoot the Sheriff. Or must I? Nah, we're going for it. So here comes a Knight of Malice. This sets up a lethal attack for next turn. So if they have an untapped land here, we die. No, just another Helm. Okay. Coeurl. Now I think we actually can attack. And they have to block, yeah. Okay. We gambled 2 turns in a row on them not top decking untapped land, and it paid off. So I think we got this. Yep, here comes the Hellkite. Sure. But we've got the removal spell for it. And that's GG. Okay, phew. Nailbiter against dragons there. We failed to sideboard successfully, and we almost lost that last match, but our risky plays paid off. Stacy's will be our next opponent with some irksome aggro. Very irksome indeed, and budget. Yeah, this hand looks good. We've got 1 and 2 drop creatures and a Dewdrop Cure if anything goes wrong. Alright, let's play a 1-drop. Don't give it much of a chance of living, but that's what Dewdrop Cure is for. Alright, Bitter Triumph discarding Swamp, sure. Okay. Let's play a Knight. More removal. Okay. Let's play a Ghoul and a Survivor. Summon Brynhilder. Alright, let's kill the Brynhilder. Attack with our dudes. Exile, I guess, a creature. Play a Reejerey. Tap land, go. Another Brynhilder. Alicia, who laughed at death. Okay, we'd like to get rid of her if possible. Alright, let's swing. Swing with the crew. Just Alicia. Does she have first strike? She does. Whoops. Okay. Get back to the cycle. So let's Dewdrop. Do we want to give him a card? What would we Dewdrop back? Knight, Reejerey. We could just do Knight and Reejerey, I think. Or do we want to give him a card? Yeah, you can have a card. Have a card. Can we draw some removal spells, please, deck? Explosive Derailment. Okay, they don't have any creatures in their yard. So, I guess we'll just face this. Oh, Sheltered by Ghost is great. So, how risky do we want to go here? We could try to shelter on the Veteran Survivor. You know what I think we do? I think we attack first. We get this Survivor hexproof first. Then we Sheltered by Ghosts on the Alicia, when we know they can't blow us out. Perfect. GG. So in Alesha aggro deck, we want Intimidation Tactics, Requiting Hex, Poison the Waters, Seam Rip. The Knights, like they have red and black base removal. I guess the Knight of Grace is better than the Knight of Malice. We'll add the Knight of Grace. And possibly a couple of Soul Guide Lanterns. We'll cut a Knight of Malice because the Grace is better. Shave 7 non-sideboard cards. 1. We probably want another Dewdrop Cure also because they're super removal heavy. 6 more cuts. We'll cut a Ghoul. We'll cut a Reejerey. Maybe we'll only go up 1 Soul Guide Lantern because we do have the Veteran Survivors. Cut 2 Ghouls. Cut all the Knights of Malice. Cut 1 Duress. Let's try this. Well, we can't cast any of our spells, so I think we have to mulligan that. Alright, that's much better. We'll bottom Plains, I guess. A handful of discard and a Choco Mog. Let's Intimidation Tactics. Brynhildr Alesha. I think we'll get rid of Alesha. They've got Withering Torment, Iroh's Demonstration. Okay, they have artifacts. Okay, cool. So we can Duress. Queen's Insight. I guess we'll just take that, because that's going to start ticking every turn. Next turn we can Duress their Explosive Derailment and then Seam Rip the Brynhildr, although it's going to go away anyway. Yeah, let's Duress. We'll get rid of the... I don't know. Probably the Explosive Derailment. It kills our Seam Rip. Yeah, we'll do that. And I don't think we don't even bother Seam Ripping this Brynhildr. It's going away. Alright, we got a Dewdrop Cure. Let's play our Coeurl. It's a 2/2. We're spending 2 life to kill it, okay? Desecrex. Alright, we'll Seam Rip the Brynhildr. Play a tap land. Pass. The attack for 4. Okay, we really would like to draw, like, creatures. We can Dewdrop Cure back our Coeurl, but it just dies to their Iroh's Demonstration. I'll play this Choco Mog. So they can spend their Iroh's Demonstration on the Choco Mog. Sorry, I'm streaming right now. Okay, Knight of Grace. Sure, let's play Knight of Grace. Pass. Callous Sellsword. Okay. Let's Dewdrop Cure. Get back our Knight of Grace and our Coeurl. Bayo. Let's Sheltered by Ghost. Get rid of the Bayo. Gonna ping us for 2. We will attack for 4. We'll play a ghoul. Your go. Quince Insight. Tap down your sellsword. Restoration magic is beautiful here. Okay, we'll just swing. Desecrex. Does damage to us. Callous Sellsword. Okay, so we can full on kick this. And win the game. GG's. Alright, getting there against Rakdos Alesha aggro. Such irksome aggro we have tonight. Alright, Beta Recognize will be our opponent. Playing some budget, irksome aggro. And we got double tap lands, but that's gonna happen once in a while. I think we keep this. It's a good hand of cards for our deck. Concealed Courtyard, perfect. We can play a 1-drop. Something Demiri. Nowhere to run on my ghoul. Okay. So perhaps something bouncy. Alright. Play a tap land. Play another ghoul. Dubious Delicacy. When this artifact enters up to 1 trigger, shoots -3/-3. Sack this artifact, you gain 3 life. 2, sack this artifact, target opponent loses 3 life. Okay. That's a dubious delicacy. Well, play a bat. Hopefully they're out of removal? Mirrorform, nowhere to run. Okay. They got 2 6-drop spells in hand. Really hope we they top deck another dubious delicacy. Alright. Can we beat them before they get these mirror forms off is the question. I don't think that we can. But what would they do? Mirror form their things into more removal artifacts? That won't work. Spyglass Siren. They have a momentum breaker on top of their deck. Alright. Let's kill the Siren. Play our Choco Mog. Attack for 5. Gain a little life. Exile your Siren. You draw a Momentum Breaker. Let's sack here. I think it's the Choco, actually. Okay, so if we sack the Survivor, we attack for 10 over the next 2 turns. Yeah, I think it's the Choco. The Choco's going away anyway. If we can get this Survivor hexproof, well, I guess it doesn't matter against what they're doing. It does matter against the dubious delicacies. Duress. Okay. Let's Diresight. Read the bones. Reejerey plus neglected whatever. Oh, opponent scoops. Okay. So, like a control-y pixie style deck. Intimidation Tactics is good against those artifacts. Seam Rip can also get rid of, like, Nowhere to Runs, Momentum Breakers. So can Requisition Raids. They're Demir, so maybe they don't have any direct creature removal that's not black. So the Knights of Grace would be good. Anything else? I think Dewdrop Cure. We're probably going to lose a lot of creatures. So yeah, let's cut a Mog. Go down the Knights of Malice, maybe. A Diresight. Restoration Magic might not be the best if they're just doing, like, sack-based stuff. I'll keep one. Maybe we don't need 2 Seam Rips. Are these requisition requiting hexes good at all? I don't think they are. I'd rather have Seam Rip. So I guess let's bring in one creature back in. Choco Mog. Let's try this. With that card, the mirror, whatever, the thing that copies everything. You play that with creatures, generally speaking. Opponent kept 7. This is a 1-lander, but I have 2 1-drops and Restoration Magic. I think this is a mulligan. I would love to get like a Duress or some other discard spell. Okay, we'll keep this. We'll bottom. I think I'll bottom Seam Rip. No, let's bottom Restoration Magic. There's a Spyglass Siren. Alright, let's go for a Duress. Stock up Momentum Breaker. They have Scavenger Regents. Okay, we'll take stock up, I guess. Alright, let's Seam Rip the Spyglass Siren, I guess. And we'll play a Veteran Survivor, which they can Momentum Break away. Yep. I'd like to get rid of that dragon. The Spyglass Siren. Alright, let's play a Reejerey. And now they'll have to kill, if they want to sweep, they'll have to kill their own Spyglass Siren. Attack for 3. Let's Diresight. Sheltered by Ghosts and Swamp. I don't think we want the Swamp. Sheltered by Ghosts? Maybe... Alright, we get Sheltered by Ghosts and Swamp. So be it. The Fire Nation Drill. Destroy target creature with power 4 or less when it enters. Sure. Nothing's hexproof anymore. And it's a Crew 2 6/3. Alright, play our knight. Do we play this ghoul? I don't think we need to play the ghoul yet. Pass. So we want them to use this as a sweeper right now. Alright, kill the Spyglass Siren. Oh, never mind, it's an outlaw. They have nowhere to run on top. Can we draw like an intimidation tactics? That would be sick. 6-3 trample. Gonna attack. Scavenger region to sweep. Alright. Kill the drill. Everything's dead. We have a ghoul. They have a Restless Reef. Alright, here comes the reef. Dewdrop Cure would be nice. If we shelter by ghost, they can just sack this in response. So there's no point in doing that. We need to draw something. Bandit's Talent? What? Okay. Interesting. Another ghoul. Attack with our ghoul. We'll pass this turn. They topped their scry. Duress, not very useful here. Oh, attack of the ghoul. Oh, but we're just gonna die to the Restless Reef. I guess I need to hold that ghoul back to block, because this comes into play tapped. Black Sun. Alright, so we lose. So just actual, like, control with tons of sweepers. Alright, I guess we do want Restoration Magic number 2. We've got... Let's get Poison the Waters in there so we can... Thought Seize those dragons. Maybe we do want an Exercise... We've got Requisition Raid already, and Seam Rip. Yeah, we don't need Exercise, I don't think. Actually, the Requiting Hexes aren't bad, because they do have, Spyglass Sirens. Looks like the only cheap thing they had, though, actually. Maybe we'll just do one Seam Rip, one... let's just do two Seam Rips. I think that's a better plan. We need to make 2 cuts here. I think we want our second Diresight against Control. We'll cut a Choco Mog. Maybe a couple Ghouls. Let's try this. Yeah, we can keep this. We even have a Concealed Courtyard. Let's go for a Duress. Turn 1. Duress. Yeah, they're just removal, removal, removal. Okay, we'll take the Day of Black Sun, I guess. Alright, they get a requisition raid off the Duress. We are knights. Nowhere to run the knight. Okay. Let's Deep-Cavern Bat. Take the Sweeper. Shock, play a Veteran Survivor. They can intimidate our thing, and then this is what we got. Bandit's Talent? Okay, they're just gonna make us discard. Sure, we'll discard that. Start getting veteran-like. Duress is a whiff. So is Intimidation Tactics. Now they can't do anything, they just cycle, okay. Attack. Exile. Momentum Breaker. I guess we gotta sack the Veteran Survivor. Nowhere to run, kill the bat, get back the Sweeper. Okay. Well, we're not getting pinged at least. We can Seam Rip the Bandit's Talent. And I guess play a land. How about a Dewdrop Cure? That'd be a good draw. Bat. Well, we can take the Deadly Cover-Up, that's good. Sheltered by ghosts. It does accelerate our clock. Sure, we'll play it. Target one of these nowhere to runs. Doesn't really matter. It's just a power buff at this point. Doubles our clock. Reejerey? I don't think I even play the Reejerey. Well, I don't know. I kind of have to, right? Against Sweeper.deck, though, it's very risky. But, like, otherwise, I'm just on a 5-turn clock. That's just not fast enough. Mirrorform copies my Reejereys. Okay. We take 10. There's a Ghoul. Well, I have to block with my Reejerey, I guess. Or I die this turn? No, I gotta attack is what I gotta do. We go up to 12. Play this Ghoul. Can't block this turn. Oh, they have a Restless Reef. Alright. GG's. Well, we could have maybe played around that a bit. I didn't catch they had a Restless Reef, so... Still, pretty good showing against removal.deck. Raoul, the Festive Fighter, will be our final opponent with some irksome aggro on a budget. Be on the play. And this hand looks like what we want to do, so we'll keep it. Turn 1 drop is what we're aiming for. All Alright, let's attack with our ghoul. Torch the tower, it dies. Okay. Play a knight. They've got VV sleeves. FOMO. It's not an outlaw, is it? It's a nightmare. Alright, kill the FOMO. Attack. Shock and play a ghoul. Constant Riddler warped. Okay, sure. Ooh, a bat. Let's play a bat. Mako, Torch, Frostcliff Siege, Boomerang, Kaido. I guess we'll take Torch. They really don't want to boomerang back our bat. They don't have to. Okay. Well, I think we'll play a Coeurl here and attack for 5. Coeurl? Boomerang back that thing. Draw a card. Play it again. Torch our knight. Play a Mako. Okay. Summon Choco-Mog. Go team. They really have to block one of these creatures. Kaido. Make a jump block.
You go low.
One scoops. Alright. Just aggro enough. So is it value-y stuff? We're definitely gonna want Dewdrop Cure number 2. Neither of the knights are particularly good because they're using red removal spells. FOMO, they're definitely like an artifact or a graveyard deck, I think. But I think our veteran survivors are probably good enough on that. I think we just do a very light touch here. Just bring in the second Dewdrop Cure. Yeah, I don't think any of these other cards are like especially good. We'll just make one cut of Seam Rip, maybe. Let's try this. Opponent mulligans. This is a good one-lander because we have a Duress and a one-drop that we can cast. If we don't draw land number 2, though, it's kind of a disaster. I think we have to mull as well. Well, we'll keep this. We don't have any disruption, which is bad news. Storm changing out. Yeah, they're definitely a graveyard deck. Sure, we'll play a survivor. Storm Chasers. Okay. Boomerang back to Storm Chasers. Yeah, Pony is as sweaty as it gets. Good luck. I will attack. If you want to trade for a token, I'll trade for a token. And we'll play a knight. Storm Changer Talent. Attack for 2? Sure. We'll take 2. Play a knight. Attack. Take 3. Kaido.
0% chance I lose.
They're just the discard deck. They're marauding Makos, and they've got to be monument to endurance. 2.
Cool tech, right?
Well, I think we're just summoning Choco Mog. We're just going face.
They'll never see us coming.
Winter Night Stories. Not a card that you see in casual play.
I'm a master of my craft.
What did you do at 9? You get an emblem with whenever your player casts a spell, you get a ninja. Alright, swing with the crew. Fire magic. Gonna do 2 damage to each creature? Okay. We'll do some restoration magic on our Black Knight because it has higher power. We could just kill Kaido, but I think I like bringing them down to 4 in range of 1 knight attack. Play a second knight. Pass. I guess they're 2 knight attacks. Can make a ninja.
It pays.
They can warp a Riddler. Only draw 1 opponent. Draw more with Winter Night Stories. MacD and whatever her name is. We draw like something that wins the game for us. No, of course not. Face is the place. It's down to 1. Quantum Riddler's not enough. They can make a ninja and Quantum Riddler. That's still not enough. Ninja,
You go
Riddler.
low, I'll go high.
Okay, deck, please give us a spell we can cast. We lose our Choco Mog. Duress. Wild Ride. We have to attack, right? No, this is silly. This is silly. They just eat one of our knights and then make another token with Kaido. Yeah, that was a bad move.
No one said I work alone.
Well, we really needed to not attack, make that attack. That might lose us the game. Let's see. If we don't draw like a bomb here, something to help us get out of this, then I think we're done for. Yeah, they're already in like
Trust
double
me,
combat step
I'm
mode.
a specialist.
Dewdrop Cure. That can get us back 2 knights. We still can't attack through this stupid Riddler, though. We need to kill it. It's the play that we got, so we're gonna make it. We're just gonna go for 2 knights. No attack. Pass. Draw 2 cards because they have a Quantum Riddler. Roaring Furnace. Okay, we're dead here. Well, we got close. We might have had a chance had we not made that very bad attack, but I think they actually had stabilized. So we know what we're up against now. Let's get our intimidation tactics in there. Our requisition rate, requiting hexes are good. They're very good, actually. Do you need to bring an epic downfall as well? We could bring an exercise, because that also kills FOMO and potential. Like, they definitely could have monument to endurance. They must have monument to endurance, actually. So let's bring in both the exercises. Cut more expensive stuff. Reejerey. One of each knight, maybe? Try this. One lander. We got them all. Alright, we can keep this and bottom. This is not a good hand. Not at all. Bottom this plains, I guess. Play tap land. Sure, play a 2/2. Torch. Duelist of the Mind. Play a Ghoul. Thing's gonna hit us a lot. It hits us for a lot, potentially. Dewdrop Cure, that'll come in handy later. Try to kill this duelist. Okay. Attack. Get a ping land, ping ya. Attack. We don't have any creatures in the graveyard right now. We don't. Because we got torched. Duelist. Duress. Let's duress you. Spell Snare, the Roaring Furnace, Storm Chaser's talent. I guess we'll just take Storm Chaser's talent. Attack with our Ghoul. Opponent blocks. Has Vigilance. Can we draw a removal spell? We have a bunch. Steaming Sauna. Okay. Deep-Cavern Bats. Alright. They have a spell snare. Well, there's nothing we can do about that. We can Dewdrop Cure this later. We do have a Dewdrop Cure. I mean, spell snare is going to hit our exercise too, but I think it's better that they hit the bat than the exercise. Miko. Winter Night Stories. Let's see. What do we have in our yard? We have just the bat, right? Okay. We need to draw some, like, requiting hexes. There we go. I guess we gotta kill the Mako. We don't have to do anything yet. Yeah, let's kill the Mako, because it discounts their Winter Night Stories. Untimely malfunction. Okay. Kills our thing. Alright. Well, let's get back our ghoul and our bat, because we can. Get rid of that fire magic. Now we just need to deal with these guys. But that's a tall order. FOMO. Crosscliff Siege. And now I think we're dead. Yep, they get double combat steps. So we're dead. GG's. Alright, so we lose to a very sweaty, is it discard deck? Too bad. Okay, so our final record with our irksome aggro budget deck was a 3-2, which is pretty good, considering there's no rares in the main board, you know, outside, no rares in the 75 outside of the mana base. We lost to, like, removal deck, black deck, which is going to be hard for us. It's hard for any, like, creature-based deck, really, to beat a deck like that. And we did take a game away from it, and also against the super sweaty, pretty meta, is it Frostcliff Siege, you know, just like, power up the card draw things kind of deck, which is like one of the, it's definitely like not S tier, but it's very top of the meta, so considering those factors, we took a game away from them as well and got very close to winning the second one. I don't think I made a mistake. I don't think it mattered. I think we still would have lost that game, but we got really, really close. So yeah, even against the black deck, we got very close as well, to the point where I'm thinking, like, this deck could use like a Luis or something, but Luis is a rare or a mythic. I'm pretty sure. I believe it's a rare. So it needs like a little bit of a finishing move. Exsanguinate, maybe? That's a card you could put in here that's budget. Just something to inflict like the last like 3 or so points of damage that doesn't involve the battlefield. Might be really good to have. I probably would also take one of these Shoot the Sheriffs and make it either into a Get Lost or like a Heartless Act. No, Get Lost or Bitter Triumph, I think. Something that can kill Planeswalkers. Because those 3-mana Planeswalkers are out there. They're going to grow in popularity. The Okos and the Ajanis and that Kaido as well. So I would want one of these to be able to target those permanents. I don't know. It's a budget deck, you know, not bad. I think it's a good, aggressive, disruptive, fun to play deck. Maybe you could find some way to add some form of budget sweeper. I don't think that split up is, pretty sure that's a rare. I don't know. There's like a million different sweepers available in black and white colors. Some of them have to be common or uncommon. You know, just like the last game that we played. Their battlefield just went too wide. A deck with like that has lots of cheap creatures and removal spells can kind of overwhelm us. So having a one-of sweeper of some form in the sideboard would be good, and I think you could cut Requisition Raid to add that. Yeah, so other than that, oh, one other thing I would do is, like, there's 22 creatures in the deck, which, as I mentioned in the intro, is low for an aggro deck. I probably would add a 23rd and cut one non-creature spell, because I do think that the deck needs a few more threats. Especially since I tend to board out creatures when I'm boarding in these like extra interactive removal spells. So I probably would cut one of the 1-mana removals, which aren't always good, like either Requiting Hex or the Seam Rip. Probably a Requiting Hex and add a 23rd creature, which could be another Reejerey, because those guys are, I don't know, these guys, sometimes they're really good, but like when they first hit the battlefield as 2/1s, they're so vulnerable. I would add one other 2 or less mana value creature. Maybe another Coeurl. These guys are actually, you know, not terrible. Having a little extra bit of battlefield control is very helpful for a deck like this. Or possibly just another Knight. Or maybe you could go up one other 3-drop creature, but then you might be in danger of like not having enough lands. So yeah, I would cut a Requiting Hex and add, I think, a 2-drop creature. Cut Requiting Hex, add a 2-drop creature. Cut Shoot the Sheriff, add Get Lost or Bitter Triumph, and then cut Requisition Raid from the sideboard. Add Unspecified Sweeper, which will be... As it is, though, you'll definitely win some games with it. It's aggressive, it's disruptive. It will mess a lot of people up, and it will catch even good decks on a good draw and beat them, as we demonstrated tonight. So I'm pleased with the performance of this Orzhov irksome aggro deck as a budget deck, and we'll call it there. I hope you enjoyed watching me play this budget irksome aggro deck. If you did, and you like off-meta MTG content, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. I stream MTG on my Twitch channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. There's a link to the Twitch channel if you want to come check out the action in real time. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Catch you later.